This video shows how to set up the HolidayCoro long-range smart receiver 120 volt model, item number 939, with any standard DMX based application or console. And that could be Lightorama, it could be Madrix, or any other kind of application that uses a standard E131 SACN or ArtNet type signal. All right. Now, the product in question here is our receiver here, and we're only showing you part of it, but these are the 16 outputs. A few things to note about it. Here we have a cable that's coming in for our signal. We do have data outward, so we can daisy chain this receiver with other receivers, including with pixel receivers all on the same line. Now, I should point out that we have a switch position up here that allows us to select the address from 1 through 16, or 0 through 15 technically. And more importantly, we see that these numbers 1 through 8, and of course over here we see 9 through 16, those are our simulated outputs. Now in this particular case, we do have regular plugs like this on the bottom of the unit, which would normally control 120 volt lights that are LED, non-grounded. And we are going to be just testing this with those lights. We also have a light here that indicates that the power is being received by the unit. Now there are two power plugs on this unit because the left bank over here is powered by one power plug and the power plug over here is for the second, allowing full amperage. Okay, now that we've kind of got a lay of the land, let's go ahead and look at what all this is hooked up to. So we have a network cable. It's a regular Cat5 type cable, and it's hooked up to this HolidayPix Pro version 2. It's hooked up to ports 1 through 16 up here, and the cable comes out here. So this is ports 1, 2, 3, 4, and then so on. So where does it go from there? It comes out of the bottom of the unit from here, and then it comes over to the receiver and lands right here on the input. So this is the same cable from the HolidayPix Pro. All right, so how we want to go ahead and set this up is we want to come in here to the HolidayPix interface. Now this video is not intended to show you how to configure the network interface to this. I will mention that the jacks on all long-range equipment are red in color. You've probably noticed that. So if we look over here, also on the controller, these are red also. Those are not Ethernet jacks, even though that is network cabling. It is for long-range signal. Okay, so assume you've got your controller set up and hooked up on the network, and we're accessing this web interface of the controller through the web connection. All right, first thing we're going to do is go ahead and come over here to the design tool. Now, let's actually show you first the port config to show you there's nothing really actually set up on this. So here is our ports 1 through 16, as we can see up here, and there's nothing configured right now. All right, and then over here, we just have a one universe set up. Nothing really effectively set up. Now, what we're going to be using is this design tab to configure the port config and the E131 tabs for actual configuration. All right, so the next thing we want to do is go ahead, come in here, and we need to tell this design tool, which is going to create our design, that we need to create a file. Now, it is important to note that you must have an SD card in the controller, in the HolidayPix Pro, and it must be 32 gigabytes or less to save this file. You'll see that there are some existing designs on this SD card, and you can switch between them. All right, so let's create our new one. What I'm going to do is first check off this long range. That just tells it we have a long range board, and we're going to assign that long range board number 1 over here to HolidayPix Pro ports 1 through 16. Now, how do I know that? Well, we come up here, we can see the controller sees the long-range expansion ports right here on 1 through 16. We can also globally adjust the output levels if we need to. Now, that jack 1, which is on the far left, is going to be hooked up to cable 1, and we're going to turn on that cable, and that turns on this box down here. So here we have strings, and here we have the physical things. So let's just start off by putting some channels in here. And we're just going to say DMX test, and we're going to put in that we're going to map this to universe 1 colon, and you can see this has got a universe colon and then channel, and we're going to put in 18 channels. And there's a reason instead of 16, because you would think for this, since it's a single channel per output, that it would be just 16. It's because this design is actually put into a pixel arrangement, which is 3 channels each. So we're actually going to put in 18 channels. We're going to hit sanity check, and it just says, hey, that's cool, no problem. All right, put in total channels 18. All right. We're going to come down here, and what we're going to do is we are going to set up a smart SPI for outputs. Now that may seem a little confusing because you think, okay, this is not SPI, this is not pixels, but that's actually how the controller sees it. Okay, and we have this board ID as 0. Now the switches on the receiver are set to 0, so back here we can see that they're all in the down position, and that means it's 0. And there's a little chart up here on the left that actually gives you up, down for the receiver number. Okay, now we have this receiver, and what we're going to do is go ahead and come over here to the string, click on this string box, and it turns green. We're going to go up here and say, hey, we're going to put this DMX channel block in there, and it beeps on your computer, and it's all done. We can actually go up here to perform a design check, and it says, hey, design checks, everything's okay. We haven't tried to do anything odd. Now, in this particular case, we're not doing anything complex here. We don't have hundreds and hundreds of strings, so we don't need to do anything. This video does not also cover the process of doing any more complex type setups with multiple receivers, SPI outputs, and all that. All right, so we've got this all good. What we're going to do is give it a file name, and we're just going to say LR16, LR16 AC. All right, and we're just going to save that design. It says saved and gives you a confirmation here. And I'm going to go ahead and refresh this page, and you'll notice it's blank now. If we go over here and we choose LR16AC and we open it, you can see that it loaded up the entire configuration. And again, that's how you can switch between various different profiles if you want to load something for one setup and then something else for another setup. Okay, so we've got our design. It has not been loaded yet, so we need to come over here to miscellaneous settings, manage controller configurations, and we're going to select it from the list of configurations we have. LR16AC, we're going to say install. It will tell us, okay, great, we've installed that setup. And we're going to go ahead and reboot, which is reset here. And in just a moment, we're going to reboot and come back. Now, it's important to note that during the rebooting process, the receiver must be connected to the controller and powered on. And why that is that the receiver is programmed during the booting process of the HolidayCoro Pro CPU. Now, it does retain this configuration after it has been programmed at least once in its non-volatile memory, and it will continue to operate even if you power it up after it has already had the controller boot up. So make sure that it is connected at least initially during the first boot up. Okay, we'll be back in just a second. All right, our controller has rebooted. And what we're going to do is go ahead and we're going to come over here to Auto Live Update and check this box off. Now, why is that? What we're going to do is this actually allows us to see if we're receiving data from our application. Now, we need something to send DMX, and again, this can be any application that uses channel universes. Now, just as a reminder, we have configured the controller here, so if we go to port config, we can see that it is listed here, and we have 18 channels on this stream. Okay, so everything's all good. Let's come back over here to status, and we'll just turn our Auto Live Update back on. Now I'm going to go ahead and open up here SACN. It's a transmit. It's not active right now. I'm going to go ahead and actually, let's see, maybe ramps better. I'm going to go ahead and say channels 1 through, and technically it should be 18 like this, and or actually more technically 3 through 18, because our channels actually start on 3. And so we're going to go ahead and start that. And what we've got here is, let me see if I can switch on our camera here. We can now see these lights blinking here, and these represent all of the SPI outputs. Now, they don't really representing the fading that well because they're not set up that way, but if we had a regular LED or incandescent light hooked up to the outputs, we would be seeing that flashing. And now if we turn this camera off and we come back over to the application, we can see that we are receiving the data on that Universe 1 and it is operating. All right, so that concludes our test functionality. And if you have any questions about setting up this product or any other product from HolidayCoro, feel free to always reach out to us at holidaycoro.com/contact us.